Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Aisha, your host. In our series, Bridging World Religions, let's explore the religion of Buddhism. What commonalities can Muslims share with this religion? What can we learn and apply to our daily lives as good practices from this faith? Let's sit down with Dr. Shabir Ally to learn more. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
My pleasure to be on.
So is Buddhism just as common a practice as Hinduism in India?
No, Buddhism originated in India, but it did not become the world religion, the major religion there. But it spread into China and Japan, and it has become one of the world's major religions. But no, its number of followers has not increased over that of Hinduism.
And what are some of the principles from Buddhism that Muslims can relate to?
Well, there are many good teachings in Buddhism. First of all, Buddhism is based on Four Noble Truths. Of the Four Noble Truths, some of them Muslims can appreciate. So the first noble truth is that every human existence is characterized by dukkha, or suffering. And the second noble truth is that suffering is caused by a human desire. And the third noble truth is that you can eliminate suffering by eliminating desire. And fourthly, the fourth noble truth is that you can eliminate desire by following the Eightfold Path.
And just to clarify, what are noble truths? Are they like overarching principles, or?
Yes, these are overarching principles. It is said that Siddhartha Gautama, who grew up as a Hindu prince, was kept enclosed by his father, who wanted him to grow up and be the next king. But he did not like this seclusion. He was curious about the outside world. He escaped from the palace and went out to see what the world was really like. And he saw an old man, a sick man, a dying man. And this brought home to him a new reality that suffering is everywhere. Everyone ends up like this, sick, old, dead, eventually. And so suffering is a reality, so one has to escape this sort of suffering. Of course, in Hinduism as well, we have the idea that one comes back into this life in a continuous series of reincarnations.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a need to escape this series of incarnations by achieving what is called moksha. Well, in Buddhism, the idea is that you achieve nirvana. It seems quite the same thing, but called by a different name. So the idea that one needs to escape this kind of suffering and this entrapment of worldly life would have already been present in some way in his thought as a Hindu. But now it came to be formulated in this way as the Four Noble Truths and the need to escape this the entrapment of this life.
And how do you see that from the Islamic perspective in terms of, we believe there's suffering in the world as well, and how we deal with it?
Yes, of course we believe that some suffering is caused by human actions, not necessarily due to desire, but sometimes carelessness and other factors. Some suffering may be in the world as a result of some natural circumstances that have nothing to do with human beings. And some suffering may be placed in the world such that they become tests for human beings, or rather we should put it the other way, not deliberately as if God placed suffering to test human beings, but one of the benefits of suffering is that human beings are being tested thereby, and so God might permit these sufferings for these good results, such as there being a land of test for human beings. As for desire we know to have ill effects, and in Islam we try to a certain extent to limit our desires or to curb them, bring them under control. It's one of the things that we try to achieve during the month of Ramadan, where the fasting is prescribed for us. The Quran says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may achieve an awareness of God, which obviously helps a person to stay away from evils. So by limiting the intake of food and drink during the day, by limiting the expression of our desires during the day, we are actually bringing these desires under control. Ultimately, we don't believe that desire is altogether bad. Human desires are placed in human beings by God for certain good reasons. For example, the desire for food and drink helps to maintain the survival of the individual, and desire for intimate relations channeled in the legal way ensures the procreation of the human race in a legitimate manner in God's pleasure. But the important thing is that for Muslims, the desires have to be curtailed and channeled and limited and controlled within the parameters that God has established for us.
And how does, in Buddhism, how do they, I guess not deal, but how do they approach these noble truths in their own religion and practice?
Well, the practice is found in the Eightfold Path, which is now, if you think of the overarching truths as the Four Noble Truths, now you have the Eightfold Path that should be followed in order to express or to eliminate desire, and this eightfold path is the way to eliminate desire, and in a way it flows out of the Four Noble Truths, because the last of the Four Noble Truths that you have to follow the Eightfold Path. So the Eightfold Path is a combination of 8 things, as obviously the name indicates, but we might categorize these into 3 categories. The first category would be items falling under belief or wisdom, faith or wisdom. The second category would be those items that fall under morality, and the third under meditation. So right away, if we think about these 3 categories, we can see that these are categories that belong to many of the world's religions, and to Islam in particular. We must have faith, and faith is accompanied by wisdom. The Quran itself is described as Al-Quran al-Hakim, the wise Quran. When the commandments are listed in the Quran in the 6th chapter and the 17th chapter of the Quran, it is mentioned, especially in the 17th chapter, that this is from among the wisdom that God has given you. So the commands themselves are called wisdom commands. So having wisdom is important in Islam, and faith, obviously. The moral effort, religions generally are concerned with morality, and the morality is expressed in Buddhism will be found largely, that concern is there in Islam as well. And then if we come to meditation, many of the world's religions have principles of meditation. In the Islamic faith, we have meditation in terms of the 5 daily prayers. We have also a dhikr, which is known as the remembrance of God, which are outside of the formal prayers. We have dua, which is prayer and petition to God, or one might include muraqabah, or just simply meditation. Or the Quran often calls upon us to think, to reflect, to ponder, especially to look at the signs of God and think about the greatness of God who created all of these things. So that too is included under meditation.
It's interesting because I don't think up until this segment I actually saw myself relating to the religion of Buddhism, so it's really interesting that we actually do have a lot of similarities. Do you have any resources that you can direct our viewers to if they're interested in learning more about Buddhism?
Yes, there are many excellent books that deal with the world's religions in general, and with Buddhism in particular. For example, Jeffrey Parinder's book entitled "The World's Religions from Ancient History to the Present," and there, in addition to the to the 3 categories of the Eightfold Path, we can find a listing of the details of each one of the 8 items.
Perfect. Sounds exciting. Thank you very much, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.